Hello and welcome to Flipped Maths with Mrs. D. Hoog. Today our topic is multiplication facts, and we are learning to recall the multiplication facts for 5, 10, 3 and 6. Now some key words about multiplication. We've just got multiplication is when you add a number to itself a certain number of times. An example is 3 times 3 is the same as 3 plus 3 plus 3. So it's just 3 times. And so therefore it's 3 times 3 equals 9, and that is a multiplication fact. They're the times tables, just to remind you. Alright, so now we're just going to look at a few tips with our handy dandy multiplication chart. I'm just going to make sure that's at the right point. There we go. Alright, so let's start off with the 5s, the 5 times tables over here. Basically skip count in 5s, or skip count by 5s, I should say. And a good way of remembering this is knowing that on a clock it goes around, the major points, they go around, you count in 5s, if that will help you out at all. So basically we'll just look at a few examples using this chart. So we've got, let's say, 5 times 2 is 10. You just count in 5s 2 times. 5, 10. And for 5 times 6, we can just count in 5s 6 times. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Whoops, there we go. And that in fact is the answer to 5 times 6. So that one's hopefully straightforward for you. Just practice it if you're not sure about the 5s. We'll just move on now to the 10s. The 10s down the bottom here is basically just skip counting by 10s if that helps you out. Or some people really like the idea of how when you multiply by 10, you just pop a 0 on the end and you move whatever digit you're multiplying by 10, or however many digits they are, along one place to make it larger, to make the number bigger. You just move it to the left and the 0 goes into the ones column. That might help you out. If it doesn't, just work through these next few examples with me to see if this one helps. Alright, so skip count by 10. So 10 times 4. We just count in 10s 4 times. 10, 20, 30, 40. So 4 times 10 is 40. That is correct. And if you notice, 10 times 4 is 40. See, the 0 is going in the ones column and it's moving the 4 along one place. That's just a little tip that will help you out a lot with when multiplying by 10s. Alright, another example would be 9 times 10. So we can just skip count in 10s until we, for 9 times, sorry. There we go. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and I reach my answer. 10 times 9 is 90. Alright, so moving on to the 3s. With the 3s, probably the easiest way is just to skip count by 3s. I know some people I read online are saying to perhaps, multiply the number by 2, they're multiplying against 3, and then multiply that the number you're multiplying by 3 by 1, and then adding those together. But I think that sort of method can get you a little bit confused. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't, just try and find something that does. Perhaps skip counting by 3s while you're learning the facts is the way to go. Alright, so just look at an example. 3 times 3, we can go 3, 6, 9. So I've skip counted in 3s 3 times, and it equals 9. Let's look at 3 times 6. We just skip count in 3s, or count in 3s, 6 times. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So the answer, of course, is 18. And lastly, the 6 times tables. Just moving on across here. Probably one of the easiest ways of remembering the 6s is just that you double the 3 times table answer. So for example, with 6 times 3, if you know that 3 times 3 is 9, 6 times 3 will be 18. 9, 18. So so double 9 is 18. That might help you out. Another example would be perhaps 6 times 5. If you know that 3 times 5 is 15, then you just double that because you're timesing 5 by 6. So you would just 15 doubled is 30. So 5 times 6 is 30. These are just strategies for why you're trying to remember these facts. And once you remember them, you won't have to use these strategies as much, which is wonderful. Alright, so now I'm just going to get you to have a go at a few example questions. So just remember this screen is up so you can rewind in the future and pause the video on this bit so you can actually use it to help you in the next few questions. Although, I don't think that would be a very good idea because you would see the answers. So instead, Year 4s, my suggestion would definitely be just to use the tips down the side here, because if you just go back to that multiplication grid and you just grab the answers straight away without trying to figure them out and remember them, it's not going to help you at all. Not at all. Alright, so we've got a few here to try out. We've got 6 times 5, 5 times 8, 9 times 10, 10 times 10, 3 times 6, 3 times 7, 7 times 6, and 6 times 4. So Year 4s, have a go on your math sheet to work out those problems, and we'll have a chat about those and mark them tomorrow in class. Alrighty, so I really hope this video has helped you to understand this topic, and thank you so much for listening to and watching this video about multiplication facts in for the 5s, 10s, 3s and 6s.